Russia, they said LGBTQ2+ is a terrorist organization.
Right.
What are they terrorizing exactly? Assholes?
They're an asshole assassin.
They're assassins.
They're assassins.
Carlos Reyes on the humble show. Yeah, we all in. Yeah, we all in. So grab your boys now, cause you know we all win. Lift your hands up and give them praise. Blessed every day, full of grace. Yeah. Yeah, we all in. Yeah, we all.
Welcome to the All In Podcast. I am your host, Carlos Reyes. To my right, I got the most interesting man in the industry. I don't know which industry, but in the industry, Mr. Zady. To my center here, I got my business partner in the solar game, Mr. Phil LeConte. And to my other left, I got Mr. Garret Jors. And of course, King Closer, aka Adrian Salgado here, right next to me. Okay, now, first and foremost, if you have not subscribed to every viewer out there, please do so. And if you haven't shared to every listener and viewer, please do so, because we're bringing you heat every single week. Let's talk about Transgender Day of Visibility. As we all know, we just all went through a beautiful experience called Easter, right? We don't celebrate it because of the Easter bunnies. We don't celebrate it because of Ishtar. We don't celebrate it because of all the wrong reasons, right? The retail commercial reasons. We celebrate it to honor a man that existed over 2,000 years ago and that is still very alive today, Yeshua, right? That is the reason why my family celebrates Easter. And before everybody gets into the weeds of, well, that wasn't really the day that he rose. Well, give me the damn day and we'll just, right? Let's all come to an agreement and change it to that day. But as of right now, we as Christians who are followers of Christ, the teachings and the life of Christ, we celebrate Easter because of Yeshua. So, yeah. But there was a rock thrown into into the whole situation.
Shots fired.
There was definitely a shot fired. There was definitely something that was very unexpected, and it kind of took me by surprise for sure. I didn't expect it. Joe Biden came out during Easter weekend and felt the need to publicly remind us that this past Easter, right, Sunday, March 31st, 2024, is Transgender Day of Visibility. Now, this whole event of Transgender Day of Visibility was created by transgender activist Rachel Crocker of Michigan back in 2009. Can we pull up? Gee. Wait, what was the reaction I gave you earlier?
What a beauty.
What a
beauty.
What was Rachel's real name?
Rob.
Roger?
Birth name.
Yeah. Richard.
Rocco? No.
Rocco.
What was
Raymond?
Definitely looks like a dick.
All right, $100. Jesus. $100 to whoever
Richard. I'm
can
talking about
find
Richard.
Yeah.
Rachel's real
Yeah,
name. You probably won't. But anyway, Rachel Crocker, ladies and gentlemen, the transgender activist. Do you ever find a specific movement's activist who isn't that part, like the epitome of that movement, right?
Yeah.
Like every time I see paralegic movement, there's a paralegic there,
I think that's what it takes to create a movement.
But why can't we ever get an activist like Phil? Like, why can't you just be an activist, right? And I'm just using it as an example, obviously.
Of course.
Why can't we get a normal straight male to be an activist for the gay community or the transgender community? It's always...
You would think they would want to be activists for it, so there's more women for them.
That comes later. I mean, there are those types of activists, the people that like to call themselves liberal, which really they're conservative, but they like to call themselves liberal. They're a part of that activist movement.
I mean,
but
I
think he means like the face of it, though. Like
the face is always the epitome of that activism.
It has to be.
Right?
It has to be.
So real quick, can you go ahead and let me read this.
Do you want to be the face of the trans
community? I'm good.
Just curious.
But let me read this announcement that came out on March 29th, 2 days before Easter. Okay. This is just part of the long public statement that came from the White House and Joseph Biden. Here we go. Now, therefore, I, Joseph R. Biden Jr., President of the United States of America, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Constitution, oh, now we respect the Constitution, and the laws of the United States, do hereby proclaim March 31st, 2024 as Transgender Day of Visibility. I call upon all Americans to join us in lifting up the lives and voices of transgender people throughout our nation and to work towards eliminating violence and discrimination based on gender identity. When was the last time you heard of a straight male beating up a transgender on the street just for no reason?
That happens if the transgender person doesn't reveal what they really are, and then they have sex, and then afterwards.
No, there was an incident recently after a Kanye concert.
Happened.
There was an incident recently at a Kanye concert that there was a transgender that just got jumped in the parking lot.
But why though?
That's fucked up.
Nobody knows why, but you're asking.
The only reason why I would ever touch or put my hands on a transgender is if a transgender just came after me. If he or she or they or them just ran up on me, was like, hey, man, they just got violent with me. I would be like, yo, hold on, right? It's not something that I think people go looking for.
Well, you're a good human, right? But there's people that are a piece of shits. They're like, you know, they have faith, right?
Those are bullies,
They like
bro.
to call themselves Christian,
No.
but then they attack and they try to throw the devil on people that don't align with them. You know, so
Those aren't real Christians, brother. I got
I
news
know,
for
but
you.
people are like
I got
that.
news for you, right?
That's what they're
I
talking
would say
about.
90% of all Christians these days aren't real Christians. They're not walking, right, the path of righteousness, and they're definitely not following the example that Christ laid out for us 2,000 plus years ago.
So I would say that, you know, for me, I definitely don't want to be tolerant of something like this. I do want to be understanding, and I do support eliminating violence and discrimination upon the transgender community. So
How about
I will say
across,
that.
Of course,
across
everywhere.
everything?
Yeah, correct.
everywhere.
But
Not just
I will not be tolerant of us casting a shadow on a day that is celebrated by the world's biggest religion in the world, right? And it's a day of resurrection, and it's something that's supposed to be a beautiful day. And
Well, I think Islam is now,
Yeah, I agree.
by numbers, the world's biggest religion. But I will say this,
Correct.
Islam was founded 600 plus years after Christ was
well,
on
they're
earth.
the biggest religion just because they have more children than all Christian families. So
Correct.
Christian families decide to have one or two kids. It is your actual duty and obligation to have big families. It's your duty as a man. That's why you see Al Pacino can still get a girl pregnant at 89 years old.
Shout out to Al Pacino.
Shout out
Give
to
that guy a
Al
round of
and
applause.
Robert De Niro.
Facts.
So whether you like this or not, these are the facts. Men were created to reproduce and to populate the world, right? So, you know, for me, it's cool. I like the initiative. I like the movement, but it was inappropriate time for it. I don't think that people should be tolerant. I think that right now, Joseph Biden Jr. Couldn't even be man enough to become a senior. Wow.
He didn't even write this, bro. This is people did.
Oh,
this.
yeah,
he
but-
didn't even know it.
But regardless,
happened.
this is the government in our faces just saying we can do whatever the fuck
Yeah.
we want. You guys
there's
will
nothing you
accept
can do
whatever.
about it.
You guys already forgot about COVID. You already forgot about the elections being rigged. You already forgot about this. And why? Because I had a great talk with
Oh, you gotta say the
George-
word allegedly.
allegedly.
Thank you.
I had a great talk with George Cahill, your guy that came into the office.
He's a real
earlier.
Christian, by the way.
Yeah.
Real Christian, very
Spiritual.
astute in the word, right? And so one thing I agree with him is people have been trained and programmed to be tolerant for the last 10 to 20 years. Oh, be tolerant of this. That's okay. I don't want to be tolerant. I don't want to be tolerant of demonic shit. I don't want to be tolerant of them blatantly saying in our faces to our children that these things that are important to us are no longer important. And I won't be. I won't raise my sons that way. I won't raise my daughter that way. And I encourage every other American to not stand for things like this. Like, it's absolutely ludicrous.
when you're saying not stand, and I'm by the way, I agree with
Mhm.
everything you said, right? And I think Christians, we kind of get a bad rap because we're so forgiving and tolerant, right? That people
Correct.
eventually walk all over us, and we're just like,
Well,
oh, you could do that.
We
You
were
could
taught
do
to
that.
turn the other cheek.
Right?
I'd rather
So-
hang out with a David and Goliath type of Christian.
Oof. But what do you? I like that. Oof. What do you
You want me to
mean
hit the
by?
hell on?
Yeah. You need that one. what do you mean by stand up, right? Because you got wackos on one side of the aisle that are gonna be like, oh, he's talking about violence, be violent, which I know you're not talking about.
Yeah. No,
so what do you mean by stand up? How do you stand up without
stand
violence?
up in your principles, right? Like stand up in your intolerance for what you know to not be true. I mean, this we know got publicized really quickly once it got distributed to the media, and you don't have to be violent in order to stand up. You just have to stand in your principles. And most people don't stand in their principles. That's why they are tolerant. So if you practice intolerance, you would say, nope, that's not something I tolerate. Just like if you told your son, hey, you need to do this at this certain time, and this is the chore that I've given you, the task that needs to be done. If he continuously did not do that task or show up in that way, you would not tolerate that behavior, right? And so the way that you would not tolerate is you would set your standard of what it should be.
And another thing real quick. So I was reading Matthew 5:38 to 5:40, right? Where Yeshua says, you have heard that it was said, eye for an eye and tooth for a tooth. Isn't that where a lot of people, right, say? But I tell you, do not resist an evil person. If anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to them the other cheek also. And if anyone wants to sue you and take your shirt, hand over your coat as well. What I will say is we're trying, but we're not Jesus. No, right? No. We're not Jesus. And I think that's a tough thing because we do get walked all over and we're taught to turn the other cheek, right? And in Meek Mill's case, he turned both cheeks over to Diddy, and look how that played out. Hold on.
Well, I think when you look at it, a lot of people are actually switching to, how would you say it properly, is Islamic religion or Muslim religion? I want to be respectful, obviously. Islam.
Islam.
People are converting to Islam because there is a natural fear of God. There is certain code of conduct that people follow. And I think when you find a lot of the intolerant people that don't want to accept these things, they look towards that religion. I mean, you look at Andrew Tate, who said he was a Christian, and then he chose to go the route of Islam. And he said because Christians don't fear God, right?
But then again, you got Russell Brand, who has experienced every religion in the world, right? Every religion. He is now a follower of Christ.
For sure.
Touching on that, the fear of God, right? That's something that I didn't understand to the full extent, right? As my journey progressed, getting more spiritual.
It's not an intimidation factor.
It's not an intimidation factor. It's just, it's once again, it's like the fear of God comes from you fearing. It's almost like fearing your father and not being able to respect his name and follow in the path that he set for you.
How about obedience?
The obedience factor of it, right? The fear of God is like, if you don't obey, something it ultimately, all sin leads to death, right? All sin leads to death.
Hold on.
Ooh. And so with that, that's when I started to realize, like, because I used to have a fear of death. I used to have a fear of being in the dark, right? At the age of 30, I would be behind some semis or behind some supermarkets at like 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning.
In a semi?
Yeah. And
was there a lot lizard there?
No, they're usually at the stations. Lizard. But that's when I really started to kind of understand like what the fear of God really meant. And finally, when I understood it, it got to the point where I was like, okay, now the only thing I fear is God.
Right? For me, the word fear is a little bit different. I don't really resonate with the word fear because fear means false evidence appearing real. Yeah. And I don't conclude that to God. What I do is I submit to God and I don't fear anything. I fear nothing. Like, if I die, I won't feel it. When I was born, I didn't feel it. So there's nothing for me to fear. But I will submit to, just like I would want my spouse to submit to me, but not to me, but to the higher power that I submit to, which is God. And when you do release that submission, you're trying to hold on to life and you want to control the outcome of every situation. Well, we don't need to control the outcome. And to go back to the transgender, let's go a little bit deeper. There's some family, some person far beyond that we could even imagine. They're very smart and intellectual to be able to control America, get everybody ruffled up and hide behind a man. Right? That's how smart they are. They can have one person. Everybody says Biden. So we're sending all this energy to Biden, right, and they don't get any backlash. So they're behind the scenes playing with America and the principles of the foundation that we stood on, which is in God we trust. Right? But now we're watching them just poke at the people and say, well, how far can we take it? How far can we take it? And as Christians or believers, as people in America, we just say, well, yeah, I heard about it. They're like, oh yeah, they're just going to say we heard about it. They're just going to say, oh, you heard about what happened yesterday, and then move on. You heard about COVID, and move on.
They're going to tolerate it.
Tolerate it.
Yeah.
We touched on this a little bit on another episode, so I won't get too into it, but I just don't connect with the culture. Like, I'm American, you know, I own it, but I just don't connect with certain things. I don't trust the culture. Like, we're trained to kick our kids out at 18 and throw our old people in a retirement home. I don't agree with that, bro.
Yeah.
I want my kids to live with me as long as possible.
Correct.
And my philosophy on parents, which I know we all share it, right? You wipe my ass when I'm a kid. When you're older, you need your ass wiped, I'll wipe your ass.
Correct.
Not throw you in a retirement home.
Yeah.
So you have the people that want the retirement homes and the kids to be out by 18, catering and making policy and doing things to cater to a fraction of our population, which is less than 1%. What about the other 99%? Like, are their voices not included in this tolerance? Is it not included in this? We should all be the same. What's that word? I'm sorry.
Percentage of young adults.
Here, I got it. I already got the numbers. Listen, let's talk about that. One, as you were speaking, I was imagining you in a diaper when you said,
Wah, wah.
What a baby. Little baby
I would give
baby.
you
Wah.
how
We
much
would
money
come
would
and
it
wipe
take?
your ass for you.
Yeah,
thank
no.
you.
Yeah.
How much
That's
money? How much
honorable.
money would it take for you to just wear a big white diaper, no shirt, no socks, just a diaper?
Well, I don't.
How much do I have to pay you to do that?
This reminds me of Isaiah passage. It's you cannot have two masters, you know. So my master is not mammon, which is money. So that
Okay.
wouldn't no amount of money
So
would
I
make me
can't
do that.
no?
How about V-Bucks?
Maybe
About-
now we're talking.
All right. So real quick. So we're talking
Everybody has a
about.
vice.
By the way, back to what you were saying, Phil, about fear, right? They say that the phrase "do not be afraid" is the most mentioned phrase, or the most written phrase in the Bible. It's about 365 times. So here we are. The word is constantly telling us, "Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid."
Coincidentally, 365 times it's mentioned in the Bible.
365 days.
So every day you should wake up.
So, real quick, back to Transgender Day of Visibility. You know, it's pretty difficult. How do we even have a Transgender Day of Visibility when, according to the Williams Institute, there's only 1.4 million adults that identify as transgenders out of 331 million people in the USA? They're almost like, what are we trying to what are we trying to see?
It's creating more division. That's all it is.
Right?
They're just continuing to divide.
So we have a day of car visibility. There's more cars than 1.4 million.
There's probably more cigar smokers.
There's
than
probably
there
more
are
cigar
transgenders.
smokers in America than 1.4 million people.
For sure.
Right. So what are we doing here?
What day is cigar
Why
day?
are we even launching a day
I
right of Transgender Day of Visibility when it literally makes up less than 1% of the overall population in America?
Well, what's
What are
happening
we
at the
talking
highest
about?
power? Like, who is it beyond Rachel? Who is it that is injecting Rachel in position, injecting people in position to uprise and make this okay? I think
Can
they
you pull
said
up
that
a
Gen Z
image of Rachel again.
the percentage of LGBTQ2 plus for Gen Z is up to like almost 30%.
Can we observe Rachel
compared
one more
to?
time?
I almost do not want to. This
We are
is
the gayest generation.
You
we've
can tell
ever
that
been.
was a
Thank you.
morning
The
picture
yes,
because
the
her
Gen
5
Z
o'clock shadow hasn't came
How
in.
do you attack a country is, you attack it in decades and centuries. And, if I were to plot against America, I know that statistically, whoever's fought in the war, I think 92 or 93% of everybody in the military is men. So think about that. And I'm pretty sure like 95% of the police workforce are men. So if you wanted to attack a country in the long term, you wouldn't do it by attacking the seniors. You wouldn't do it by attacking the boomers, the millennials. You would do it by attacking the alpha generation, filling their brains with whatever propaganda that you want them to, because you want them weak. You want them in their emotions. You want them in that are, I'm not saying they should be hyper masculine by any means. I'm just saying that they should be more masculine than feminine.
How can we respect these humans for going through an experience, which we all are? We're all going through an experience, a human experience, right? How do we respect that without them changing how our way of life moves forward and the way we talk moves forward, right? Because then now they're infringing upon our will, our free will.
So just because you
how
don't
do we respect that
stand
and not
with
do
it,
that?
doesn't mean you can't understand it, right? Or understand it. So I can empathize and understand what they might be experiencing, but I don't have to support it, right? And I think that's where people get things mixed up, is they're like, well, if you don't support it, then you don't agree with it and you're against it, or you hate us, right? It's like, well, number one, I don't have to hate anybody. Number two, I can not support something, but also give you empathy and understanding for what you might be dealing with. So
whatever mental
correct
illness you got going on, and like I said, live and let live. Like nobody here even has anything against transgenders or
not at all,
you know, gay people, you know.
Shane
there's
Gillis, he has a joke. He said, because I think his brother, his cousin, has Down syndrome, and he said, I used to think that being gay was a choice or whatever they say, and he goes, but if you ever look at any person with Down syndrome, they love tits.
Oh my God! Hold on.
Think about that.
Wait, so there's no gay people with Down syndrome?
Show me.
I mean, that's a good question.
Bro, you've never seen
I didn't say
There's
it.
Something
Shane
About
Gillis said
Mary,
it, right?
You never seen There's Something About Mary?
Frank and Beans.
Yeah,
Frank and Beans
Frank and
love
Beans.
himself a pair of jugs.
Why, he's not saying jugs. He's saying
And he
Franks and
knows
Beans.
people
though.
were after his sister.
Yeah.
Look,
He knew.
you
But
got
he
always
Bubbles
says
right
Franks
here.
and
Bubbles
Beans, bro, so
loves
who
some
knows?
boobies.
He loves
Bubbles,
pussy
booby.
too.
Yeah. So okay, back to the transgender situation. Ready? These are the top 3 states as far as overall percentage of overall state population broken down.
Can I guess?
North Carolina is number 1. 0.87% of that state declare or identify as transgenders.
We're doing all right over there.
Delaware, 0.82%
Shout out to Delaware.
of that state identifies as transgenders of the overall population. Arizona,
Come on.
0.73% of the overall population in Arizona identifies as transgenders. Now, if you're wondering, because here, I'm going to go around the room real quick. Who did you think was the number 1 state that identifies as, that has the most transgenders?
California or New
California?
York?
California? Or who?
Or New York.
What about you?
I would say Oregon.
I was
number
going to
3
say
for me.
Oregon,
What about you?
or San Francisco specifically.
Well, that's
It's
Cal
California.
State.
So
Yeah.
Washington.
California,
Washington.
Oregon.
I would even put Atlanta in there.
Well, the communist state of
All right,
California.
so we got-
has a lot of-
Yeah.
So we got California, we got,
Oregon,
Oregon?
Atlanta.
Oregon, Cali is a tie for me.
okay, what about you?
Washington.
Okay. Well, coincidentally, California has 220,000 transgenders right now in that state, and it's 0.49% of the overall population. That's the thing. If you compare,
Correct.
population in Arizona versus population in California,
Yeah.
it's not even close.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
rule.
So
in
I think
California.
the most transgenders that you'll find in this country will be in California for some crazy reason.
Imagine what this ideology will do over time and how it's going to degrade principles, standards in a family,
depopulation.
depopulation, right? Because like Garret said, when you want to attack a country, you start within. You allow it to spoil itself. You allow people to either go against the grain or they don't believe in what our parents believe in, even though our parents looking at the younger generation like, what is going on down there? Like, what is happening to y'all? But they're
What's going
injected
on down where?
in the
Okay.
boomers or the silent
Got
is
it.
looking down at the Gen Z and
I'm
probably
sure a
wondering.
transgender has heard that a time or two.
Yeah, for
Well, I mean, it also
Diddy.
if you look at
No Diddy.
every civilization that has fallen within, what was at the height? Entertainment. I mean, there was entertainment at the height of every single civilization that has fallen. And I mean, you look at it now, our entertainment is getting more and more demonic. Maybe demonic's not the word, I don't know, but it definitely is not like,
Not holy.
it's not a holy frequency. And so you have to ask yourself, are we quite literally in the time where our country is being demolished from within? And that's why I say, if you are a Christian, a Muslim, a Catholic, whatever you do stand for, don't be tolerant for these things, because otherwise your country, the greatest country in the world, America, is quite literally going to disintegrate. The USA.
What would an army of transgenders look like?
Ask Russia.
Very fashionable.
Wait.
I feel like it would look like the powder puff.
What?
Whoa,
Hold on.
hold on.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay,
didn't hear
going
it.
in.
What?
Okay,
What?
so
Hold on,
so
hold on.
if we
What
were
do you-
to if we
Get
were
your
to
thinking caps on, everyone.
take away the guns, no, take away the guns, take away any type of weapons, put a Russian soldier versus an American soldier today. No guns, nothing involved. Right, with where we stand right now, with the way that our soldier can watch online like we can.
Are we talking about Navy SEAls? Are we
Yeah,
talking
right,
about Green
what?
Berets?
I mean,
National
Or
Guard.
we
we can go
Navy.
Are
best
we
to
talking
worst.
about transgenders in the Army? What are we talking about here?
Let's do a little bit. Let's just do overall ideology, because if you're in the military, you know about this whole Easter situation with transgenderism, and you're fighting for the country that is upholding beliefs that you may not agree with.
Ooh.
So you're having to protect people, not just us, but also the transgenders that have their day too. So when you protect the country, you protect everybody, and you have to agree with whatever principles that they agree with. So if you're going into war and you're fighting a Russian troop who's probably loving their country that they're fighting for, oh my God.
Oh, this can't be real.
That's not real.
No, those are memes, bro.
Those are memes.
Oh my
Okay, so you're,
But
okay.
but it is a meme. But that's how other countries look at us.
If
Like,
we have
they-
1.4 million transgenders
Go back to those
in
other
America,
pictures. It's not
right?
that far.
If we have 1.4 million transgenders,
That's
in
identified
America,
transgenders, though. Maybe that's
someone who identifies as
maybe
transgender.
they're scared to come out, so they're technically not a
If-
part of that calculation.
if
You know?
if you met that person in a corridor and it was hand to hand combat, like
Oh, I don't even know.
I think there's something in the military where if you get in the military, you're allowed to get your change paid for when you go through the military process. You can
Wow.
get your private part.
that's a good point you brought up
changed
because
for free.
California is making laws that support the change and the transition and all that. Didn't Florida just ban that?
Ban it because it was for kids. So
Yeah.
a lot of this, if you look into the details, they're talking about how they're allowing kids to make their own choices and allow parents to respect the kid's choice, even though the kid is making the choice at 8, 10, 12 years old to change their private parts.
It took my son 2 weeks to figure out what shoes he wanted to buy with his birthday money. And you want to be able to, you want them to be able to figure out what gender they want to be? That's nuts.
But
No
who-
pun intended.
Back to the Russia. I need you to. Wow. You said that's nuts. Yo, you got to explain this whole Russia army transgender thing. Like, what are you talking about?
Well, what I'm saying is if you're Russia, I'm the United States, we're going to go to battle without any weapons. You know that from my country, there's an ideology that we believe it's acceptable to allow certain things to be the way it is. In Russia, I think they just banned, they said LGBTQ+ is a terrorist organization.
correct.
They just did that they just did it last week.
They ban GMOs. I mean, Russia does a lot of things right.
What are they terrorizing exactly? Assholes? Oof.
They're an asshole assassin.
They're assassins.
They're assassins.
What are we terrorizing here? I shouldn't have said that. I should have said the virgin hole that Cat Williams is talking about. You gotta tell them no. Remember that? P. Diddy.
I don't have any
back to-
affiliation with P. Diddy.
Hey, would P. Diddy qualify as a anal terrorist in Russia? Okay, back to what you were breaking down, bro. Please, I apologize.
Allegedly.
Russia. Going back, remember, you're Russia, I'm United States. Ideology.
The guys in the media. They're having a good
The
time.
idea is if you're Russia and you're already in a war, you're already fighting people, you're already in the coldest environment there is, you take ice baths at the age of 4 and you see an American pop up, you're probably not scared.
Wrestle bears and
You're
shit. Yeah.
You're not worried or scared of America, especially when you're watching them be okay with where we are.
I believe Russia, pound for pound, you like person for person, military wise, and probably even non-military these days, right? Just regular civilian. I think that they got us beat mentally and physically right now.
If he dies, he dies.
You know what I mean? Like, I
Sure.
truly do believe that. And I know that, my American people probably don't want to hear that, but this is what we have allowed.
Yeah, we
Yes.
set the standard.
This is what we're like. I
We've
believe,
removed
like,
the
listen,
Yeah.
right? Not everybody, when I look at you,
You know I can.
You're
you know,
getting there.
You know I can get there. You know I can.
Like, what would you do?
You know I
Anyway,
can get
you're getting there. I don't mean to disrespect you, right? I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to war with you. I just got to figure out a position of like what that would look like.
It's definitely not
I want
doggy.
you next to me. Let's get it cracking,
Let's get it popping.
right? Because I
this
feel like
shit.
you and I are, hey, we're gonna fight until someone dies.
Correct.
right? You're gonna like and we're gonna grab every brick, rock, chair, whatever it is around us to get the job done if we're fighting another country.
Yep.
Right. If you think about it, the man that wins is a person that is willing to endure more violence.
Correct.
Would you agree?
Absolutely.
Right. Who is willing to go that much farther when
It's
it
the
comes
guy
to
who's
violence?
willing to die who's
So
going to
I'll
win
get
that
to you.
inch.
I'll get
It's
to
one
you.
of the reasons
There's a
why
position in our army for you.
it's one of the reasons why I also don't get too into
I'm a
the
Marine.
spiritual side, and I've told Phil this multiple times, is for me, I will never lose my warrior spirit because I've quite literally made change in this world by standing up to the bullies of this world. I've made
And
change
protecting
the ones that
the weaker individuals out there, correct?
And some people could say, why are you doing this? There's a better way. Well, if there's a better way, then show me your results and I'll show you mine.
Oof. By the way, out of, I would say 90% of every fist fight that I've ever been a part of, it wasn't even my beef. I was protecting someone else. You can literally ask Spencer in the box. Like one of my fights at the YMCA here downtown Phoenix was because some 6'4", 300-pound dude decided to push Spencer in the back. And I just asked him. Stepped up, didn't think about it. We got it cracking right there. It was crazy. It was like Street Fighter. Like everybody made a circle around us in the middle of the court. This is a 300-pound, 6'4", light-skinned black dude that was a bully. He was a bully to everybody. I just got tired of it, bro. I was like, you know what? You want to push the skinny white dude in the back, right? As we're shooting free throws. You know what? Let's just get it. Like, let's just get it going.
Yeah.
Now, you can ask him. He was literally a witness of one of those fights that I'm talking about. That they didn't have nothing to do with me. I could have sat there and did nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But in order for evil to triumph, good men have to do what? Nothing. Back to you. I would definitely go to war with you. I would go to war with you. I love you. You know that, bro.
I'm gonna keep you alive, bro.
You're-
At the end of the
you're-
day,
I'm gonna keep you alive.
I'm gonna keep you alive, bro.
I feel like you would be the guy that's like serving food. Like, we're gonna get hungry. You're bringing the little
Granola
medical
bar while I got a bullet wound in me.
I'm honestly, you're a very resourceful human being, right? And I've seen you in action. I've seen you pick up a chair or two.
I trust Adrian because I know that his will is.
I will tell you this though.
That's what it is.
That's right.
Yeah, Adrian's. Like, we're not gonna question his spirituality. Like the dude is gonna go right.
Yeah.
Now I know what you're gonna do. You might as well just do it. Go ahead, do it. What are you gonna do when the fight breaks out?
Let me just say this, bro. How you do one thing is how you do everything. When we play Fortnite, who gets the kills and who runs away? I'm just saying.
Do I run away or do I run and I'm the distraction? I'm the sacrificial lamb. Be honest.
You are the sacrificial lamb.
Thank you.
And you're
I
the
go in.
reviver. But I die because I'm in battle all the time.
Yeah, I'm the guy, if anybody's played paintball with me, I'm the guy that goes and tries to, what's the word I'm looking for when you're flank. Yeah, I'm the flanker.
That's true. That's very
I'm
true.
the flanker. I don't care. I'm willing to take the bullets and the arms and all that just so my people can move forward an inch or two.
I'll say this to realistically answer your question. The reason why I don't fight is because I
didn't say
can't.
you didn't fight.
Well, I'm just saying I don't fight because I can't turn off death. So if I fight, it's to the
my
death.
God, you're so violent.
Because if somebody is going to attack me, usually it's going to be, unless they're a midget, they're going to be taller than me. So my life is at risk. So I have to fight to the death. That means hitting in the
face to
balls,
chest, right?
biting off faces, biting necks, ripping out
What else are you?
throats.
You're fighting
you know
transgenders. What else are you fighting? What else are you biting off?
I'm saying whatever.
Biting that.
What else are you
If I'm in a fight, it's to the death. So that's why I try to not fight.
Why don't you do
ever.
your warrior your
But that's why I don't fight. I'm a monk.
I love that. Why don't we do this? Why don't we do what we've always dreamed of? I carry you on my back.
Ooh,
and now it's 2 against 1.
bring it up like Ace Ventura.
We've already done that.
When
Bro,
nature calls with the guy on his back.
Yep, you'll be on my back. You'll be watching my 6, right? I'll be focused on my 12.
Okay.
And you got me. You're like, you got binoculars on and you're sniping from my back. Hey, this guy at 3 o'clock.
There it is. That's the thumbnail. Carlos carrying Zady in the back. No, the guy in the little pouch.
The little pouch.
Yeah.
That's me and you right there. Yeah, that's me and you. Anyway. All right, let's move on. Right. Shout out to all the transgenders. Live and let live. We have nothing against you. Just stay away from the kids.
Yeah,
Facts.
absolutely.
Stay
I
away
think that's
from
my
it.
biggest problem is that's what they're going after is the kids. I don't have problems with any person that wants to identify as whatever. If you want to
Live and let live.
If you want to be with men, be with women, like do whatever the fuck makes you happy. Just stay away from my family and our ideology.
Well, and according to everything that's come out recently, right? If you want a music contract, then you're probably going to have to do some strange things for something strange for a little bit of change, right?
For sure.
Unless you're Ice Cube.
I mean, unless you're Ice Cube doesn't belong to the club, or Cat Williams doesn't belong to the club, right?
For sure.
So anyway, speaking of rap,
Ice Cube, you had a song we be clubbing. Interesting.
yeah, but you know which club he's talking about. Okay, Kanye West doesn't belong to the club. 50 Cent doesn't belong to the club. There's people out there that are like, they just, hey man, no. They said no.
Well,
right?
they went to the club. They just didn't stay in the club.
Exactly. They saw what was going on. They're like, yo, this is some
freak
Sodom
nasty.
and Gomorrah kind of ish going on here. I'm out.
They left before the devil arrived.
I heard LeBron James, that's been coming out. LeBron's been in some of those P. Diddy parties.
Yeah,
You saw that? And I saw P. Diddy's like, let's go upstairs. Let's go upstairs. Let's go upstairs.
LeBron said no.
LeBron's like, nah, I'm good, man. What? Okay, allegedly, in that situation,
Who's on top?
is smacking whose cheeks? You got a 6'9", 260-pound freaking savage beast. Then you got the other guy, the little guy, 5'10", 180-pound guy. Brother Love, right? Like we know who's gonna win that battle,
I don't
right?
think everybody that associated with Diddy or went to his parties is necessarily guilty by association. Because if you have an opportunity to go shake hands with some of the most prestigious people in the world,
At what price?
well, if you're not involved in those things, you're not paying that price, right? So you get to meet whoever you want and not deal with that price. So
That's fair.
But
I
eventually
won't
you
say
have to stay there. Eventually you have to become listen, they're not going to bring you into this circle and you're going to be like, "Oh, hey guys, hey, I got love for all y'all, but I'm not partaking in the kind of, the kind of weird stuff y'all got going on." You're not going to be there too long, bro, cuz they're not going to trust you.
for sure.
Yeah, why would
They're
they?
not going to trust you, right?
Yeah.
So speaking of rap, there's a huge rap beef going on right now, which is Kendrick, Future, Metro Boomin. They put out a #1 song called "Like That," and it's a big ordeal right now in the music industry where people are drawing lines in the sand. Right? It's on one side you got Drake, and on the other side you kind of got everybody else.
That's just vegan beef.
What's
bro.
going on,
That's
bro?
vegan beef.
I agree with Zady. It's vegan beef, and Drake announced it in 2013 when that on a Big Sean song called "Control," he names names, and he mentions Drake. He mentions a bunch of people. Oh, Kendrick. I'm sorry, Kendrick. He said it on "Control."
What do you say?
Bring up those lyrics, man. You can see the names of people that he dropped. So he says,
Jay Electronica.
Sean- Sean Don.
Wait, what do you say?
Scroll down.
Yeah, you got to go
Scroll
to
down.
Kendrick's verse.
Yeah, it's that right there.
Vegas, Game, Porsche, McCartney. What are we talking about?
Is it
here?
Kendrick
down.
like the best lyricist out of all of them right now?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh,
Scroll down.
oh. F y'all clubs, y'all pictures, your Instagram can gobble these.
Yeah, keep going down. He
I
starts
saw
naming.
Farrakhan and Saddam.
Right there. So he says,
Paul McCartney.
he says great
Playing with
debates.
Barbies.
No, he says, I heard the barbershops being great debates. Read that part right there. About
Wait,
to see
what?
who the best MCs. Kendrick, Jigga.
I heard the barbershops be in great debates all the time about who's the best MC. Kendrick, Jigga, and Nas, Eminem, Andre 3000, and the rest of y'all. New ninjas, just new ninjas, don't get involved.
And then he goes to name a bunch of names right there. Jermaine
this-
Cole.
Jermaine Cole,
but
Big
this is
Crit,
hip-hop.
Wale, Pusha T, Meek Mill, ASAP Rocky, Drake, Big Sean, Jay Electronica, Tyler, Mac Miller. I got love for all y'all, but I'm trying to murder all of y'all jiggas. Yeah.
Trying to make sure your fans never heard of you. Okay.
That's like a shout out though. That's not
Yeah.
a diss. That's
But that's why.
So
like
you're
you
saying
said,
he
it's-
wants that
it's
smoke?
vegan beef, right? He knows. Drake, Kendrick isn't part of the club either, by the way.
I know.
He knows that. Okay, every once in a while he has to come out and just drop some straight heat just to prove to himself again, or just to prove to society or the culture that he is on
Kendrick
top.
wants beef.
But he wants the rap beef.
Yeah,
like
like
booth beef.
Eminem used to,
He wants-
right?
yeah,
like
in the booth
Eminem
beef.
used
Rap,
to, you know.
rap is quite literally built off of rap beefs.
That's
Like
true.
that is how rap sells. Like you look at 50 Cent when him and Kanye went at each other, and whoever had the most album sales, then whoever was going to retire. We know that both of them didn't retire. Kanye and Drake, he dropped Certified Lover Boy, then Kanye dropped Donda. I mean, you hear about these people, they were already shaking hands and talking to Jay Prince and having everything mediated like months in advance. So what are you going to do if you're in entertainment and you're supposed to be entertaining and you're supposed to sell projects?
Yep.
You're going to create some entertainment. What does people tune into? What does most people's wives go home and watch? Reality shows. Love is Blind.
Love and hip hop.
Love and Hip Hop. Flava Flav. Like we grew up on all these freaking reality shows and drama. So it's no different in the music industry. We just look at it like, oh shit, they're sending shots. It's like, okay, are they really sending shots? And then a month later or a year later, they're back cool again, making music? Or is it really that serious? I would say the only serious beef that I've actually watched for Drake so far was the Pusha T beef. Like,
I don't even think that was that
I don't.
serious.
Again, listen.
You want to know real beef? I would say Yo Gotti and Young Dolph. That recently.
I mean, someone
I would
is
say-
going
yeah,
on
I would
on
say-
this earth,
for
right?
sure.
I would
Like,
say the
someone-
only thing
died.
for me
R.I.P.
is
Dolph.
I would say Ice Cube
R.I.P. Dolph,
had
sure,
real
true.
beef with NWA.
Well, hey,
right?
let me actually
Tupac
go down
and
a
Biggie,
list.
bro.
Let me go down some
Hit 'em up.
famous.
That's the
Let me go
only
down
beef
some
song,
famous rap beefs, and you tell me real or vegan,
Okay.
Yeah.
right? Real or vegan? Ready? Nas and Jay-Z.
Real.
Vegan.
Oh,
Real.
I would say real too.
I
I would say
go
real too.
I
I would say real. There was some shootings.
Yeah.
There was some shootings in the studio and all that. There was some real intimidation, some real physical potential violence in that specific beef. If you think about it, there was.
Jay-Z went on and
But
signed
remember,
Nas.
this was the 90s,
Yeah.
right? Like this was late 90s, I believe.
Correct.
Would you
Right.
say Jay-Z signed Nas?
Yeah, but that's a power move, and I think that at that point, it was kind of done. I used to think Jay-Z won that beef because he ended up being more successful and
Right,
make more
yeah,
money, but
yeah.
Ether is by hands down like
Oh,
probably
yeah,
one of the best,
yeah.
right? Well, like that beef song, Ether hands down. Name a better beef song.
Jay-Z
him up.
is
Hit him up.
actually used to be
We'll go
one of
down
my
there.
favorite lyricists, but to be honest, Nas is there with Jay-Z. Like those are two
So,
top tier
Let's continue
lyricists.
down the famous rap beefs, real or vegan. Ice Cube and NWA.
Real.
Real.
Super real.
Okay. Easy and Dr. Dre. Real.
All
yeah.
beef patty.
Right. Tupac and Biggie.
Real.
Real.
Krabby Patty.
That got real. Somebody died.
Yeah. Two people died.
Somebody died.
Both of them.
Right.
Two people died and P.
50
Diddy got
Cent and
rich.
Ja Rule. That was real beef.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
That was a
real.
real beef.
Yeah, 50
Was that
Cent,
the last real beef?
50
no,
Cent
no,
literally
the
bought out all
Oh, I
of
remember
Ja
that.
Rule's show,
That
so
was
nobody
crazy.
could show up to it.
That
one
was
time.
50 is a troll.
He bought
Savage,
all the
bro.
tickets to Ja
Biggest troll.
Rule's show.
Hold on.
one
Biggest
time.
troll
50 Cent.
in the
50
history
Cent.
of
50
the
Cent.
hip hop
50
rap
Cent.
industry.
I love
ever.
it.
Remember when we
50
wanted
Cent.
Mayweather to
50 Cent.
read a Harry Potter book?
Oh my god! And he'll donate $1 million, bro. He wanted to donate $1 million if he could
That's
do that.
All right. Wow, bro. Okay, so we just went over some real versus vegan. I believe most of the beefs these days are vegan.
Correct.
It's
Well, if you
entertainment.
wanna
No one's
mass-
gonna die.
Yeah.
No one's gonna get shot. Right? Like, I mean, the way that they do it now. Even Kanye said this in a clip on Drink Champs. He says, when Drake is beefing with you, like he'll buy a house next to you. He'll
Sleep
send
with your
tickets.
girl.
He'll send tickets to your baby mama.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
Like that's the way he beefs, but nobody's really getting into any trouble these days, right?
Yeah.
No one's really dying besides Gotti and Dolph.
Well, and I would say for the solidified artists, I'd say the newer artists, all of them are dying. Like PNB Rock, Pop Smoke. I mean,
But not because of beefs.
Pop Smoke got gunned down in his crib. PNB Rock got gunned down.
But that wasn't rap
But
beef.
that
That was
wasn't
street
rap
beef.
beef. That was
he had
like
a-
street.
He had a
Correct.
backpack
Like,
of cash, bro.
They were trying to come up on what they were wearing. If you're constantly going to be showing off what you got going on, right? Oh, look at this $300,000 chain and blah blah
No,
blah.
that's fair. That's fair.
And then
$500,000
you're at the
in
Waffle
a
House.
bag.
Someone looking to come up. I mean, there are still real street people out there that are just looking at you,
Since-
waiting for you
Yeah.
to slip.
I saw Schoolboy Q on Drinking Champs. I saw a clip of him, and he was talking about why do these artists from East Coast, South Coast come to the West Coast and check in, right? They're like, he was like, do you really
Yeah.
think that gangster that doesn't know you is going to have your back. You checking in is basically you checking in and letting him know where you're going to be at so he can set you up for the lit.
Oof.
So
I saw that too.
yeah, you see that?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that shit makes
Absolutely.
perfect
Yo,
sense.
he pulled
I ain't
up.
checking in with no fucking
He
man.
pulled.
You got me fucked
Hey,
up.
he pulled up Machine Gun Kelly,
I
bro.
know.
I'm sorry, bro.
I think for his
Well,
wife,
Machine Gun
maybe?
Kelly and the Eminem beef. I mean, Eminem ruined MGK so bad he went to a whole new genre. I mean, fuck.
But again,
Like,
like
you
no
live-
one's
Didn't he create
gonna.
one depression rap or something?
Yo, nobody's getting beat up. If anything,
Yeah.
back then Eminem was a little wild, and he probably would have swung at you back then,
Mhm.
right? So that's probably the farthest it would have went.
But he was also surrounded
it ain't
by
no
G-Unit.
Tupac
and
No one
Big.
likes to
Yeah,
beef with
yeah.
Eminem though, because they know M will
Destroy
annihilate. I mean,
you.
even
Yeah, bro.
Kendrick told you that M is in his top 5 of all time.
Yeah, but you know what? We're gonna agree with that. But I will tell you this: as some of these artists have gotten older, like Jay-Z,
Mhm.
like Eminem, I don't really like the route that they've taken in their later years.
Because of politics?
Yeah, I'm like political and all that stuff. Like, you know, it doesn't make Eminem.
You
any-
gotta realize how they grew up, though. I mean, Eminem grew up in trailer parks.
I get it, but
mean,
look, now he's.
but
I
that's
feel
like,
like
that's
has he gone soft?
That's a Democrat, right? Like,
See,
that's,
Has he gone soft?
That's what a majority of rap is. A majority of rap is based off of life experiences. And so if Eminem grew up in a trailer park and now he owns probably hundreds of trailer parks, right, as investment, he's not going to talk about
Right.
being
He
in a
can't
trailer
relate
park
to. He
anymore.
can't
to it
relate to
anymore.
the trailer park
Well,
community.
I
Just
mean,
like
what-
you can't relate to somebody hopping the border right now because you don't know. You knew what you did, but you don't know what they're going through currently to the day because you said you didn't get the $5,000 gift card that Biden's giving out.
And,
But if you look at the top, real quick, I
Go
have this
ahead,
one
go
thought.
ahead.
Like when you look at the top of manipulation and persuasion, you have to activate emotion. During COVID, they knew that you have to get people ruffled up to be able to persuade them in whatever you want. In the culture, when you have people emotionally involved and they're going from Drake to Kendrick, they're almost like sharing fans and sharing views and getting that vegan manipulation to just stir up so that they both win, right? Because
correct.
good publicity and bad publicity both coincide in the same.
And Jay-Z's at the top, just pulling the strings.
I like what someone said. He said
composer.
Kendrick is the #1 lyricist. He said Drake is the #1 mainstream artist. J. Cole is the best storyteller. So I don't think that you could put people in their own categories.
Well, didn't Drake? I mean, he's far away from street, isn't he? Like Kanye's more street than him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
It's funny,
Kanye-
his
and he
videos
doesn't-
are in the street, but like, what does he know about the street? His videos are him in the street. Like, so you see.
Well,
some of Drake's
everybody. So
videos.
every non-street rapper, like 6ix9ine and Drake, they grew up and they get the tattoos and
Yeah.
they think it's cool to be
Something
in
to
the
prove.
streets, right? We were in the streets. You were in the streets of Cashin.
I was skateboarding. Yeah.
Yeah,
I was,
like-
I was.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the streets.
For sure.
You were in the streets.
Yeah.
There's nothing cool about the streets.
No.
There's
no.
nothing cool. Like there's nothing
No,
cool about the
there's
streets.
nothing cool about
Actually,
the
I will say this, right? And I wasn't planning on doing this, but today is April 3rd. Today is my brother's birthday,
Oh,
Mm.
happy birthday.
who I lost 4
God
years
rest his
ago
soul.
to the streets.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's the real street, and there's nothing cool about the street. People lose lives, and people lose a lot more than
Correct.
what people. This whole disgusting culture that proclaim to be street, they're not street, bro. They're not street. You know, it's just they're studio gangsters. It's a persona. It's almost like every single person on social media. Like everybody's one person on social, and then off social, they're like, yo, how did you build, right? How did you build the courage to be that person? And outside of that, you're not that person. You know, like this self-esteem and courage that they build to be on social, they're far away from that in real person.
For sure.
And I feel like that's the rap industry also.
Yeah, it's entertainment. Like,
entertainment, yeah.
it is. That's what I encourage people to remember. Like, it's entertainment. You are
let's-
supposed to be entertained.
What's everyone's favorite? Like, can we do something like
Yeah, let's do a Mount Rushmore.
Mount Rushmore? That's what's called.
Yeah,
Mount
so
Rushmore.
I'm gonna do this, right? My Mount Rushmore of the rap / hip hop industry ever. I got Tupac, I got Biggie, and now I have Kanye. Outside of that, me and you grew up Jay-Z fans, right? If anything, we didn't like each other. We're brothers-in-laws. He thought I was an a-hole, and I thought he was a loser.
What do you guys think now?
We
I
spend
love
so
this
much
guy.
time together.
They're
now, it's
one
like-
now. They're one.
And now he's
Yeah.
the
They're
one
a-hole
that's
and
on
Like I'm always now I'm begging him to come over now and stuff. But anyway, we didn't like
They
each
could
other.
take
I'm the
cold
asshole that
plunges.
says
They
no.
take
And then
cold
and we
plunges
connected.
together.
By the way, we connected. We've been to more Jay-Z concerts together than I can even count.
Wow.
Right? We even drove and flew to be in some Jay-Z
Well, I think
concerts.
if you do your Mount Rushmore, though, you can't base it off of like
Personal.
what happened after. You have to do it off of the skill set that we're looking at. So if we said, well, what do you think is the Mount Rushmore of wholesaling? And then we threw Carlos Reyes in it, we wouldn't be like, well, yeah, but when Carlos turned 50, like he did this thing. It's
He's
like, well, how did you
washed
feel
up.
about him as a
Right,
wholesaler?
right.
Right.
So if you feel that Jay-Z was a top lyricist, he can still be on your Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oof.
It's just so tough because now
You don't have to say you idolize him.
now as it like man, I can't believe, in my opinion.
Aside from politics and everything, like
Yeah,
that,
take
if
all
you're-
that
if
out.
you- Yeah,
all right, I'll put Jay up there then. I'll put Jay-Z. I got Tupac, Biggie, Kanye, and Jay-Z. God.
Who's next?
I'll go.
ahead.
I mean, Tupac and Biggie are kind of in everybody's Mount Rushmore.
They better be.
Yeah, Jay-Z. Aside from those two, I would say Jay-Z, Kanye, Kendrick, and then
Well, there's only four heads, right?
Okay.
Is there only 4 heads?
Yeah,
up
but
front?
Four
Pull up
heads,
Mount
yeah.
Rushmore.
Yeah, Mount
It's
Rushmore.
four.
There's literally
Four.
4
but
heads.
I'm not counting.
What are we
I'm
doing
not counting
here?
You gotta
Biggie
do
and
four,
Jay-Z.
bro.
They have their. I mean, Biggie.
They
and
have
Pac.
to
Not
be
top 5.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Mount
top
Rushmore.
4. Hey, you put
Okay,
me in the
then-
spot.
All right.
You have
I know, you
you
can't
put me in
choose.
the
Everyone
spot.
gets
I'll
4,
go,
you get
I'll
5.
go. I'll go
You got Pac.
Biggie.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go Biggie. I'll go Pac. I'll go Kendrick and Jay-Z.
You left Kanye out.
Yeah.
You left Kanye out.
Yeah.
Did you see that? Did you see that post he just did about?
I'm
I
talking.
washed you. Right, every single lyricist out there. I washed you on your own song. I brought Adidas into the
I
culture.
will say he did
I
wash
took
Kendrick
them
on
out.
that song.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like you're not gonna throw back. I said 10 years ago, maybe not, but now,
I say Kendrick's still on there for sure.
time exposes you or promotes you. I
Yeah.
think time has
And
promoted.
I went through
Kanye
Kendrick's
as an
entire
artist.
catalog this past week.
Oh my goodness!
It's not a lot,
He
but
prepped.
and that's the thing about it. Each one of his albums sounds different, and each one of them hit different, but they all hit.
Is he on that Nas timeline?
What'd you say?
Every 10-year every
yeah.
10-year average, right? He drops a hot album every 10-year average. Remember Jay-Z did say
So-
that.
He stays relevant.
So for
But-
me,
Real quick, just to
yeah,
leave off
yeah.
on that, and the reason Kanye can't be on that Mount Rushmore is because we're not talking about artists, we're talking about rappers, and Kanye was openly about how many people have written raps for him. He never came into this game as a rapper; he came into the game as a producer.
Correct.
He just learned how to rap, and I showed you the first rap that I heard him on was that Champions
It was
mix,
fire.
right? So, but he also a lot of people wrote for him and helped him write.
I heard everybody writes for Drake.
No, that's why he's
That's
he
what
was-
I heard.
everybody writes
as
for
well.
everybody. Like that's the fact of the
I don't
matter.
think people write for
Oh,
Kendrick.
damn.
No.
I forgot
When
Some
I say
people
everybody,
don't.
I mean
Wayne, bro.
mainstream right now.
Yeah, some
Bro,
people.
Lil
don't, yeah.
Wayne, bro?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Every mainstream
kidding
artist
me
that
right
you
now?
love.
That's actually my number one.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's on my. He's on
Come on,
mine
3,
too.
Lil
He's on
Wayne.
mine
Oh
too.
yeah, Lil Wayne is for sure on my Mount
my
Rushmore.
He doesn't
Yeah,
write
you
anything
must have
down.
P. Diddy on that Mount
So
Rushmore.
He doesn't
here's
write
the-
anything
here's the-
down, bro.
here's the
How do
fact
you
of the
not
matter.
respect that?
I could tell when I'm talking to people that are very uneducated about the music space because without Lil Wayne, there is
No Drake.
none of these fucking rappers that we
No
have today.
Nicki Minaj.
There
no
is
Drake.
no Nicki Minaj. There's no Drake. There's no YMCA.
Right.
There's no Tyga. There's no anybody without Lil Wayne. Lil
All the
Wayne
little
hopped on
pumps and the little reds?
everybody's beat. Lil Wayne went
Yes, he
on
did.
one of the most crazy
Runs.
ever, and
Mixtape after
still to this
mixtape
day
after
has
mixtape.
influenced the sound at the highest level.
and the culture.
And
Little
the
Wayne
culture.
was the one that brought skateboarding into the hip hop
He
culture.
had more
Right.
runs.
So true.
He did a
So
rock
true,
album.
bro.
He did a fucking rock album
Yeah.
at a time where it was not popular to do rock.
He sold his catalog for almost a $250 million.
I will say it. Lil Wayne did have more runs than Biden has in his pants.
Oh.
So for me, Lil Wayne is definitely on there. Eminem is on there. I would say that I'm not gonna do Biggie or Tupac because that's everybody's.
Mac.
So no, not Mac.
No, bro, you don't
Eminem.
get to do that.
Yeah, you gotta. What?
We don't
That's
get to do
why we
that,
want. That's
bro.
why I
I'm doing,
said we
I'm
need
doing
to
it for my
eliminate it.
generation.
What do you-
So for my generation,
Me too.
Tupac and Biggie are at the beginning of when I was born.
They're still
right?
relevant today. Is Lil Wayne relevant today?
For sure. Yes. 1,000%. I think that's one of the most. That's how I know when I'm talking to people that are uneducated in the music space.
Excuse me.
For sure. If you think that Lil Wayne, look at how Brooklyn's looking at you right now.
I was bumping Lil Wayne in high school. What are you talking about?
But you're
when he was a
okay.
teenager.
Then you should know that he's one of the most
Boys,
influential
the block
artists.
is hot.
For the last 30 years, Lil Wayne has been one of the most influential artists of our time.
Hands
For
down,
the last 30 years.
No doubt about it.
Lil Wayne just had a song with Benny the Butcher and slaughtered Benny the Butcher on that track.
He is nasty.
Lil Wayne goes into the booth. There's multiple. Kendrick actually had a interview, I think it was with Big Boy or somebody, and he said, when I watched Lil Wayne do a song with J-Rock, All My Life, which is a classic song, he said, this is before Kendrick was even big, he was actually J-Rock's hype man. Yeah. So when he said, when I watched Lil Wayne sit in there and actually work on track after track after track and never touched a pen, it was all just flowing effortlessly.
Oh my goodness.
Never touched a pen.
When he went on that run with all those mixtapes, it was to get all of his written shit out of there. Everything that he ever wrote, he needed to just dump it all out and start fresh.
Yeah.
And then that's when he started, and then he became even more influential because he stopped writing his rhymes and he started going in the booth and just.
Okay, so you said Lil Wayne, Eminem.
So Lil Wayne, Eminem,
Tupac and Biggie.
I would say
Tupac and Biggie.
50 Cent for me. And then I'll end it with Jay-Z, lyricist.
So no Tupac and Biggie on your list.
Nope. No Tupac and Biggie on my list.
Okay.
Shame.
Yeah,
I love Tupac and Biggie. I'm going from my generation.
Yeah,
That's blasphemy.
That's exactly what I was gonna do because I went Lil Wayne at number 1, and then number 2 I went Drake only because Drake has stayed relevant for this long, right? I mean, to go back to
Drake
Take
is
Care,
up there too. Yeah,
Take Care has taken care of him his whole life.
Man, you young bucks,
right?
man.
And then you got right after him. Then I'll give it to Kanye, and then I'll actually throw the Migos in there only because they grew.
We're not doing groups.
That's crazy to throw the Migos in there. That's
we're not doing groups.
That
We're not
is
doing groups.
fucking slander.
We're not.
Like, tells me that when you were in Atlanta, you were doing some fucking wild shit. To throw the Migos in there,
the reason why is
blasphemy.
They grew up in my hometown and my county, so you get to watch them grow up. So when you watch them go from like
how about
the
we
local,
do groups another
just
time?
because you watch them grow up doesn't mean that they're the best.
That's what
yeah,
that means.
but it was all we heard.
R.I.P.
His
Takeoff.
best.
That's all
It's
you
his
heard.
best. It's
Oh,
his
look.
best.
R.I.P. Takeoff.
Can I put Dolph in mine?
Ooh.
Yeah, I'll give Young Dolph some love.
I'll give Dolph.
All right. By the way,
Dolph is-
wait, what did you rank my list? 8, and then you ranked Adrian a 4,
Damn.
and then you ranked him a 9.
That's
and
my
then
boy.
you ranked him a shit.
Yeah.
Oh my
Throw
God!
the
Media
Migos
team.
in there, he needs
The
like
media
a 1
team.
or a 2.
Hey, there's a little pressure from the media team.
Wait, you ask Matt. He looks like Machine Gun Kelly, bro.
Wow.
Now look, Brooklyn knows. Brooklyn has good taste.
Shots
Brooklyn knows.
fired.
Brooklyn has good taste. So when you see Brooklyn's head nodding, that's because he knows.
Validation.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
he
can't
knows.
wait to get to Little Zady's list.
Little Zady's list.
Little Pump, Little Red,
Lil Pump, Lil Rob,
Gucci gang,
What you got, Little
Gucci gang.
Zady?
So
Lil Sky.
number 1, Tupac. Even though he's a
Bushwick
poet,
Bill.
he's a poet. If he lived in another century, he would have just been a
He
poet.
disrupted the industry, bro.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So 100% Tupac. I'm not gonna put Biggie on there because I don't condone being obese. So
I think
that's
you're
not on that list.
I think you're disrespectful.
Lil Wayne.
You're disrespectful. Let me tell you why. Because a lot of people would have put Big Pun on that list. So you're
He's
disrespectful.
obese, bro. He's
Yes,
obese.
right?
For sure.
Big Pun.
For
So
sure.
you're lyricist wise,
He's
Big
obese.
Pun was nasty.
But that's a whole different topic.
You're disrespectful.
No, I'm not.
You're
I'm obese.
disrespectful.
I could make fun of
I'm
obese
obese too.
people.
I'm
Then we
losing
could
10
talk
pounds.
shit
I'm
about
May
obese
1st.
people. Me too. All right, let's go. So we got
Bunch of
Tupac
fat fuckers
in
on
this
here.
order. Tupac, Lil Wayne, because he doesn't write anything down and he's put in more reps than I think anybody.
Mhm.
Then I got Eminem, just because his rap battles are crazy and he's white, bro. Like, how does a white rapper survive?
Nobody fucks with
hip-hop.
Eminem.
Like,
Game
exactly.
even went on an interview and
So-
said nobody ever wants to beef with that
That's
white
respect.
boy.
Yeah, that's respect.
true.
So that's 3. And lastly, even though I personally don't like him, I can't hate. I got to put Jay-Z on that list because, again, he doesn't write anything down either.
No, he doesn't.
So
No, he doesn't.
that to me is the ultimate skill to have
You got a
as an
10-10.
artist.
We got a winner.
You gotta
Damn.
Zady,
shit.
hey, let's get Zady around. I mean, the media team gave him the number 1 list.
Not the media team. Let's be honest. Matt gave me.
No, I
that.
think Brooklyn likes my
Brooklyn's
list
got
the
something
most.
to say.
Brooklyn likes my list the most, right, Brooklyn?
I think
Come on.
I think
Damn.
Brooklyn's
Come
list
on.
would be completely
All right,
different.
So
what's
is it
your
a
list?
tie? Is it
Brooklyn,
a
what's
tie?
your list?
My list?
Yeah.
Oh, here we
you're
go.
Mount Rushmore.
You're Mount
You're
Rushmore, bro.
Breaking the
Let's
fourth
go.
wall.
Mount Rushmore.
Breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah.
Lil Wayne, Eminem,
Don't be scared.
Go ahead.
Tupac,
Oof.
I got 3 of those guys on my list.
Go ahead.
bro.
What else?
Kendrick.
Kendrick.
Ooh.
Okay.
Oh, that's why. Okay.
Kendrick for sure.
That's not a bad list. I just don't
That's a
think Kendrick
great
has enough material out there yet to be on that on Mount Rushmore.
He doesn't need to because all the material that he has, you can let each album just run through.
If I was doing just my generation, it would be J. Cole, Kendrick, Lil Wayne, and Drake.
Oh, now we're going generationally. Got
Yeah.
it. Hold on. Matt, what do you got? We're gonna close it out. Yeah, we're gonna close
Matt's
it out.
like-
Matt, what do you got?
My Chemical
Yeah.
Romance.
I got
My Chemical Romance.
Tupac, I got Lil Wayne, I got Eminem, and I got Juice WRLD.
Juice
Oh,
WRLD.
You know what? I can see why you love Juice WRLD because the younger generation, if you actually watch Juice WRLD was one of the most talented artists out of all of those Gucci Gang artists and Lil Pump and all those.
R.I.P. by the way.
Juice WRLD was so talented. It's very rare that you could find someone that can just keep going and keep going and keep going on freestyle after freestyle after freestyle. I'm not a big fan of that type of music, but I am a fan of greatness, and Juice WRLD was definitely.
I got something to say for Matt though. Matt, I think why he's got Juice WRLD on his list is because more Juice WRLD songs have been playing in the background when the panties have dropped. Right or wrong, Matt?
Oh my goodness.
Boom.
Bro,
He's
how many
right.
panties have you dropped?
No, for him.
Oh,
bro.
okay.
That guy's
All right.
That's a different generation.
You got
I'm
three
not
a
Mount
day,
Rushmore.
3 different
I'm not
ones a
listening to
day.
men.
Bro, this
I'm not
ain't the
listening
panty
to men
dropper.
when I'm trying
Hold
to
on.
drop panties.
This is not the panty dropper Mount
Wait,
Rushmore.
you don't put
We'll have a
Weeknd on
panty
it?
dropping
Nah.
Mount Rushmore.
We don't have
okay?
plies.
And guess
Yeah,
what? R.
something
Kelly
softer.
might be on that Mount Rushmore.
Well, you're right. You know
Usher
what?
will definitely be on the panty dropping Mount Rushmore. He sweat nobody.
He sweat
Oh,
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah,
He
yeah.
sweat.
We need to do a panty drop Rushmore.
Oh, next.
We
Stay
will.
tuned for the next
Stay tuned
one.
for- Anyway, we got to wrap it up. Listen, if you enjoyed this show, do us a huge favor. Show some love. Go to the Apple Podcast and drop a review. Give us a rating. Share this with your family. Share this with your friends, with your cousins, with your baby daddies and your baby mamas, right? Share, subscribe, review. We love you. Until next time.